evening, everybody. For the Board of Variance meeting, June 30th, 2021 at 4 p.m. I will call the meeting to order. As a note, the meeting will be live streamed and video recorded for the public. Board members, can you hear me okay? We're good? Introduction of late items. We do have an addition of a late item. It's agenda item 5B, which pertains to the Board of Variance application BOV 755. It was a letter that was sent out to the board members via email. Can I confirm, board members, that you've received this addition?
Can they not hear it?
I'm not sure. Daryush, Alan, Ken, can you hear me?
Okay. Just bear with me.
Oh, good.
No, it should be moving. Can you hear us, everybody?
No mouths are moving.
I know, they're all patiently watching us.
In the bottom left corner, it says unmute.
Yeah, this is for the computer audio. I can give it a try just for the sake. Might be worth it this one. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you. Board members, have you heard anything up till this point?
No.
Okay. Should I start again?
Sure.
Okay, sorry for the delay, having some technical difficulties.
I would call the order again.
Good afternoon. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Meeting for June 30th, 2021 at 4 p.m. here at the boardroom, Service and Resource Center. Introduction of late items. We do have an addition of an agenda item, number 5B, and it pertains to the Board of Variance application BOV 755. It was an email that was sent to the board members yesterday. Can I confirm, board members, that you did receive this email and have had a chance to review it?
Yes.
Excellent, thank you. So we have added a late item to the agenda, and in that case, can we adopt the agenda as amended? Can I have a motion to adopt it? Thank you. Thanks, Ken. And a seconder, please. Thanks, Daryush. The agenda is adopted as amended. We have the minutes of the Open Board of Variance meeting held here at the Board Service and Resource Center at 411 Desmond Street in Nanaimo. The meeting was on Thursday, June 3rd, 2021, and the minutes from that meeting have been attached to our agenda. Members, if you've had a chance to review them, and if there are no comments or amendments, we can have a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Motion to approve.
Excellent. Thanks, Daryush. And to second, please. Thank you, Ken. All right, so we have passed the minutes from last month's meeting. Moving on now to the presentations for this afternoon's meeting. Our first application is BOV 00754. The civic address is 33 Mackey Road. And the purpose is the applicant is requesting an exemption under Section 531 of the Local Government Act to allow the expansion of existing accessory office floor area from 182.74 meters squared to 369.38 meters squared within an existing non-conforming industrial building. The property was previously zoned for industrial use, but is currently zoned R1, a single dwelling residential. The applicable regulations are sections 528 to 532 of the Local Government Act, which stipulates when a non-conforming use is permitted and does not allow the expansion of a non-conforming use or any increase in the degree of activity attributable to the non-conforming use, except where an alteration or addition is permitted by the Board of Variance in accordance with sections 531 and 542 of the Local Government Act based on a demonstrated hardship. So these are the details of the application. If there's anyone here to speak to this application, please take the mic and please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Toby Seward. Can you hear me?
Yes, we do. Thanks, Toby. Please go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you very much. I'm here also, I believe Dave Young is on the line as well. Dave is the General Manager of Parkland for Western Canada, and he is here to provide any comments if necessary. Dave, are you there?
Yep, I'm here, Toby. Thank you. Dave Young with Parkland Build Corporation.
Thank you very much. I'll be brief. We've outlined the application, and the summary just presented gives a good overview of what we're asking for. Zoning change in 2011 created a lawful legal non-conforming status for this property, and the owners wish to address that issue through this variance. They've owned and operated at this location for over 20 years and certainly have the intention to continue to operate both a distribution center and a warehouse, along with the accessory office use at this building. The points we wanted to emphasize is this is an internal change only. There's no physical change on the outside of the building, and the neighbors around it are a lot of industrial and commercial uses that have been long-standing for quite a long period of time. So there's virtually no impact on the neighbors if this change was approved by the board. As noted in the summary at the beginning, Section 531 of the Local Government Act is the only mechanism that we have been able to determine to consider this request. So the Board of Variance has the jurisdiction to approve it. City staff do not, and there's no other variance process. We've worked at length with city staff to see if there's anything else how we can achieve this. So the big point here is demonstrated hardship. The hardship of Parkland is that they wish to consolidate their office staff into one location. Currently they have two locations, one elsewhere in Nanaimo, and they wish to combine staff. So their hardship is they cannot combine their staff in that location without this variance, and certainly look to the board and request that the board consider approving this variance. Both Dave and I are here to answer any questions that the board members may have, and we look forward to that discussion. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Toby. And Dave, before we take it to the board members, did you want to add anything to that right away?
Other than just thank you for your time. Appreciate you reviewing our application. The process has been a while, but it's always been a great help in getting us to where we are today, and it would be great for me to be able to consolidate our operations into one building, and once we step outside of our COVID restrictions currently, it'll be great to have people all in the same building. So.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Okay, Dariush, Ken, questions, please? Please, Ken, go ahead.
I have actually several questions. Not sure who to direct it to, so I'll just direct it generally. But perhaps, Dave, you can answer this one. What can you describe for me in general terms the nature of the business that you do there?
Sure. Parkland Corporation owns and operates a commercial fuel business. We purchased the Chevron assets 3 years ago, and we have been in the city and on the island as Columbia Fuels since '09. Parkland Corporation's been around since '73. We do fuel commercial distribution. We do retail fuels, lubricants distribution, predominantly up and down Vancouver Island and across Canada for that matter.
Okay, thanks. That helps.
Yeah.
If this variance is granted, do you have an idea of the increase in operations on that site?
Yeah, the operation itself would probably predominantly stay the same. The increase is going to be just staff in the building, so just minimal impact as far as trucks and drivers go. It'll just be staffing inside the building, so another 8 to 10 staff.
Okay. Yeah. I did see in your submission, you talked about the additional staff. Maybe you could just clarify. I understand 4 staff will be transferred from your Govan site?
Yes, so 4 from there, myself out of my basement into an office there, my regional operations manager out of his office in his house into that office as well. And then, as always, with anything we do as we try and grow, we want to be able to expand and have staff availability in the same building. So we amalgamated the Columbia Fuels and the Chevron business together, and hence why we had 2 offices.
So I did a rough calculation. It seems to me that there will be 4 new staff at this location, in addition to the ones that you're transferring over.
So we are hiring actually an administrator today. So I would prefer that they work out of that location. If there's no room, then they would work out of the Govan office operations currently. I am looking to hire probably another salesperson, which would be periodic in and out as well. So and then future operational staff, be it yard, card lock, or warehousing. So yeah.
So I guess in general, you can say that aside from the existing staff, there will be at least a couple of additions.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely, yes.
Okay. It wasn't clear in the submission if there's going to be any structural alterations of the space inside.
Go ahead, Toby, if you want to go.
Certainly, I'll just make comment to that. We have had a tentative plan drawn up by the contractor, and there will be some minor structural alterations just for load bearing. A small, but yes, a small portion of the construction to make sure the loading would be satisfactory for the intended use.
Okay, so it's just putting up additional walls, that sort of thing?
That's correct, and just determining where, with a structural engineer, just determining if there's any need for that upgrading to allow for the addition. Okay. I did have a question about your Govan site. How long has that been in operation?
Columbia Fuels ran it before Parkland's acquisition in 2009. I'm going to say for 5 years prior to that, and prior to that it was at Fortis, BC location, I think. So it's been in that same location. It's right across from Windsor Plywood, if you know, at the end of the road there.
Yes.
We currently lease it from, we're a tenant there. I'm paying, well, I own one place and I lease the other. I'd rather just move into the one where I don't have to lease. The end goal, right? So managing our operating costs is always a business move, right? So
Sure. So then you're anticipating moving completely out of that Govan site?
Out of the building, for sure. The Govan location has a yard, and we have a small card lock facility in the back of it. I'm going to try and work out a lease where I can still operate out of those 2 locations, because yard space is hard to get in and out today. So, but out of the building for sure.
Okay. Just a couple of other questions. You said in your submission, basically, that the hardship you face is that you won't be able to meet the increased demand for office space. And I think you started to sort of elaborate a little bit. Could you go a little bit further, just elaborate what you mean? Because you're adding something in the order of 2,000 square feet.
Yeah, so we currently operate with the 2 businesses amalgamated. We operate upwards of 20 drivers out of the Nanaimo organization. So we have inside staff, but we also have a driver staff that runs 7 days a week, approximately 20 hours a day. And that driver staff, right now, we can't get them all in one room if we want to have a safety meeting, which we do every month, or a general information meeting, which is always communication is a big key for us, right? So adding a smaller boardroom in the back of the warehouse would help us facilitate that and facilitate those meetings as well. So as well as just adding bodies out of Boban and into there. Today I can't physically sit everybody in the middle. I can, but they would be sitting at not at desks.
Boxes.
Yeah, boxes, yes.
Okay. You did allude a little bit to the COVID operations. Did you have, aside from yourself, did you have other people working from home?
Predominantly right out of the gates, everybody was working from home, and we were doing things remotely. Our goal at Parkland is to be one Parkland team and work closer together and synergize our business more practically. We have a walk-in traffic or a walk-in business as well, where we have folks coming and going to buy lubricants and pay for their fuel bills as well, right? So having people in the office is a key for me, as well as Parkland.
So have you considered at all maintaining that once pandemic restrictions are eased?
Yeah, we actually have, Parkland's set itself up so that we would like predominantly people to be in the office, but we're going to be flexible with our workspaces and manage people's times accordingly. I know myself, I was traveling, my operation took me from Kenora, Ontario to Hewlett, BC, so my travel schedule was a bit heavy. I've come to the conclusion now that I can do more of this and probably travel a couple weeks a month as opposed to 4 weeks a month. So, but there will be that opportunity for all of our staff to work from home as well as in the office. So.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. That's all the questions I have.
Great. Thank you, Ken. Hi, Dariush, please go ahead.
Yeah, I do have two questions. One is, as I understand, there is no exterior renovation. I mean, it's not building, it's not changing. Is correct?
Yeah, no exterior changes. What I would do is freshen it up for sure, because it needs a bit of TLC. It's been the same for a while, so I'll definitely do some of that while we're doing the interior renovations. So, yeah.
Thank you. And another question to the chair, actually this is for staff. Since the number of the staff will be added to this site, additional parking will be required. If this approve and move forward, is there any mechanism to check the staff parking meet the city requirements?
Thank you, Dariush, through the chair.
Yes, please.
Okay.
That question could be answered by staff. Thank you, Dariush, please. Go ahead.
Through the chair, Dariush, we did have a look, and as this was a permitted use at the time that it came into play, and there is no change of or increase to the use area on site, we don't require an update to the parking requirements. If they were to go through a development permit, say through exterior upgrades, we may look at it at that time, but this proposal would not trigger updating the parking requirements on site here.
I'm a little confused because as I understand, parking requirements for staff is separate from the cargo area. So I know both of them are required, but the ratio is different. So obviously, as the applicant mentioned, there is a couple of more staff will be at this location, and the office area will be increased. And I'm not sure how it's not reflecting the parking staff, but if that needs to go again through the planning department and the building department, I'm pretty sure there will be some mechanism to double check the requirements.
Could I just make a comment on that, please?
Yes, please. Who's, hi, Toby.
Thank you, Darusha. Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Just to confirm, we have talked to,
Hi, Toby, we lost you. All right, stand by.
If he can't answer, I think I can. We have looked at our layout. Our backyard currently we don't use it for truck parking. We have one van and a couple other pickups parked there, but we have room for for more inside staff parking there, so if need be. So.
Yeah, for sure if you have enough of land available.
Yeah.
It can be added parking if needed.
Yeah.
Just don't know.
Yeah, we took that into consideration with the number of folks as well, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I
Dave.
don't have any problem.
There you go.
Dariush, end of questions for you?
I'm good, no?
Excellent, thank you. Hi, Alan, any questions from you? Concerns, issues with this application?
No, I don't think so. I think Ken probably covered a lot of it, so I don't think I have anything. I was just kind of wondering a little bit about signage, if they're going to be putting signage changes up there at all.
Not at this time. At our card block on 39 Mackey Road, which is right beside it, has a stand post already that's going to stay in place. We have a sign on the building today. We're probably change that to a Columbia Fuel sign is all we're going to do. It'll just replace what's existing. So.
Okay, that's I didn't really have anything else.
Great, thank you, Alan. I think that I just wanted to ask a couple questions to clarify things for myself and maybe other board members. Dave, you've had this building for how many years?
So Chevron Canada actually has had it for over 20 years. We bought the Chevron downstream assets in 2017 as Parkland. So we've owned it for 3 years,
Okay.
but combined it's over 20. So.
Okay, I guess my questions are about zoning, and I'm not super clear, but it sounds as though the zoning of the property was different, say 20 years ago. It was only recently changed to R1 zoning, is that correct?
In the application, I believe it was changed in 2008, and then 2011 it was updated again, so yes. Okay. So pre-us, it was updated and changed, so.
So I would like to direct this question to staff, just regarding the zoning, and to clarify for myself that because that building was existing within it was allowed within the previous zoning, when the zoning was changed to R1, that is when the Local Government Act sort of kicked in and limited their ability to have structural changes or changes of occupancy and such. Is that correct?
Thank you. Yes, it is correct. That's when the Local Government Act kicked in, was at that change, and because it was an existing use, it is permitted to continue and be maintained.
Thank you for clarifying. The wording of that, I was trying to wrap my head around. Okay, so they were allowed to continue running as they always had been, without changes, but now the Government Act dictates the rules if they did want to make any changes at all, which are that they can't really make them without coming to the Board of Variance.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. So I'm hearing that you're amalgamating businesses and locations and putting new staff in the new building. There's quite a significant 2,000 square feet to switch from warehouse space into office space. I didn't do the math, but it's a good chunk of space. If your business is growing, are you going to need to find more warehouse space? Or are you, my question is leading to the fact that will you outgrow this because you're taking away warehouse space to office space? The proportions are changing, your business is growing. I could foresee that your warehouse space you might require more, in which case would you be back here asking for another variance or having to take other action in order to change the building or move forward with your business?
Sure. And as of today, I would say that the space that we have will be adequate for us for a good 10 years. We have multiple locations up and down Vancouver Island, and we have locations in Vancouver, Lower Mainland. So if it became a space constraint, we have the ability to adjust and adapt our where our inventory is going to sit and get distributed out of. So as far as the trucks and the trucking goes, that's why I would like to hold on to the Boban yard, because there's yard space there if I need to park the equipment or whatever. So
Okay, so,
it's about really, the 2,000 square feet is really kind of more of what the building was laid out in, so we just kind of took structural pieces. We haven't finalized that. It'll probably be under that a hair, but we wanted to make sure we weren't undersizing ourselves.
okay, so just moving forward, if you are granted this variance, you project that this will meet your business needs for the next decade without having to, again, make changes or ask for variance. It's good for
Yeah,
you.
correct.
And
Yes.
looking into the future as well, okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you. And then last question, directed again to staff, is if there was a need for any changes in the future, would this process be required again? Because this variance, if granted, is only applicable to this one alteration and change of interior office space use. If there were required other changes in the future, would there be another variance requirement?
That's correct. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And again, zone the way it is, the same local bylaws would be applicable, and we'd be doing this again if something else was going to change in the future.
Correct, that's most likely the case.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have no further questions. I can ask the fellow board members again if you have any other questions, please. Yes, Ken, please go ahead.
Madam Chair, through you to the staff.
Yes.
A little bit of perhaps an interpretation. Excuse me. In the relevant section of the Local Government Act, there is mention that a variance cannot be approved if it will vary permitted use or the density of use. And the applicant has said that they're going to bring in more office workers, and they've, in fact, in their submission called that an increase in degree of activity. Can that be considered an increase in density of use?
Yes.
Thank you. Through you to the chair, or through the chair. My understanding is that we look at density in terms of floor area on a site, and so the increase in staff would not impact density.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. Anybody else? Members, any other questions? And if not, we could make a motion regarding this application.
I move that the board approve the application POV 754 to allow an exemption from section 521 of the Local Government Act to permit the expansion of the existing accessory office floor area from 182.74 square meters to 369.38 square meter within an existing non-conforming industrial building.
Excellent, thank you, Dariush. So we have a motion on the table to approve the application. Could I have somebody second that motion if you agree?
I'll second it.
Hi, Alan, thank you. So we have a motion to approve and seconded. Could I have a show of hands for those who support the motion? Okay, so we have 3 board members who support the motion to approve, and Ken, are you okay to go on record that you do not support the motion to approve this application?
That's correct. Well, I believe that it will act to defeat the intent of the city's bylaws, and so I would vote in the negative.
Thank you for clarifying and stating your reason, Ken. As is, the application is approved. Majority of board members agree with the motion, so you're approved. And
Thank you, I appreciate that.
the next action will be from the cities to tell you how to move forward.
Okay, I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody's time. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dave. Have a good afternoon.
Yeah, bye-bye.
And Toby's gone?
I believe he fell off again.
Okay. All right, moving on to our second application for this evening. The application number BOV 00755. The civic address is 162 Irwin Street. The applicant is requesting to reduce the required side yard setback from 1.5 meters to 1.01 meters and the front yard setback from 4 meters to 3.72 meters to allow an addition to an existing non-conforming single residential dwelling. This represents a side yard setback variance of 0.49 meters and a front yard setback variance of 0.28 meters. The applicant requested variance to the City of Nanaimo zoning bylaw number 4500, section 7.5.1, siting of buildings, which says a minimum side yard setback of 1.5 meters is required and a minimum front yard setback of 4 meters is required where a side yard setback of 3 meters or more is provided on at least one side yard. If we have anybody present who would like to speak to this application, please take the mic and state your name. Thank you. Hello?
Hi there.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we hear you fine.
Okay, Ryan Pfeiffer here. I am along with my better half, the other one named Pfeiffer. That's Brianne. We are the owners of 162 Irwin Street. We are hoping to be granted a variance, just as was stated, for both the front yard and the side yard setback to our non-conforming property, dwelling, sorry, I should say. And the intent here is we have a growing family, we have a little one, and we are planning to have or add a couple more. Our current home is only 850 square feet, so the intent here is to actually raise the house and put another floor underneath. As a result of that, keep the footprint where it is currently, and to increase the total square footage. We'd like to stay in the south end of Nanaimo. We'd like to maintain that south end feel of this house, of this dwelling that's over 104 years old. We'd like to avoid having to encroach on the south and west portions of it, just to maintain the ideal usage that we have of the property as it stands right now. Yeah, we're here to answer any questions that staff may have.
Excellent, thank you, Ryan. Anything more to add from your better half? Your words.
Yeah, definitely my better half, not a problem.
Hello, I'm Brianne. I'm here to answer any questions. That's the gist of what we're hoping for.
Great, thank you very much. I can turn the mic over to the board members and they can ask you questions or have comments about the application. Please, go ahead, board. Ken, Alan, yes, Ken, please, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I read your submission, and I'm not sure why, probably the heat. I didn't fully follow it, but you alluded to raising the house so you could add a floor underneath it. Is that correct? So will that be like a basement or a fully usable floor?
That's a great question, yeah, maybe I should have clarified that. Yeah, it would be a useful floor, so the intent here is to go from 850 square feet to doubling that to just under 2,000 square feet, somewhere in the range of about 1,900, give or take. That's the intent. Right now, we are a small 2-bedroom, 850 square feet, and with the plan of having multiple children, that definitely limits the livability of the current house, the current dwelling.
Sure. I think somewhere you also mentioned an addition.
Yes, that's correct. So it's not so much an addition as it is to replace a certain portion of the house that we feel makes it easier for us to use that space rather than keep it as it is currently. There is a portion that has a lean roof to it, whereby we end up having less than 6 feet of clear height. We'd like to just replace that, make that more usable. So that's the intent. Not so much an addition as it is more of a replacement of an area.
Is that at the rear of the house?
Sorry?
That at the rear of the house?
Correct. Yes, it is.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Dariush or Alan, would you like to ask a question or two?
I just had one. I was kind of clarifying the definition of the front lot line with the city's front lot line. And I guess the only reason that there's a city lane there as well that comes in at the back and that's the back border of the property. I'm not sure how they define the front yards. It's just what?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's part of with this type of a property and the age of the home. The last time, interestingly enough, the survey was actually done on the property was in the 1800s. So when the surveyor came in, he was pretty surprised. It's very unique that there is a laneway that abuts to this property. That's one of the appeals to this property to us. But the definition from our understanding is a road. It has to be a street, and that's what's considered the front. That's where we get the front yard variance from. The 4 meters, typically it's 4.5 meters, but the 4 meters comes into play, or the 4 meters is allowed if you have a side yard that is greater than 3 meters, and we have that on the opposite side of the house here. So that's why it's reduced to be 4 meters, and then so what we're asking for is to change it from the 4 meters to a 3.76.
Alan, does that clarify your question?
Yeah, I was just curious about that. Pretty any other questions? It's pretty straightforward to me.
Excellent. Thank you. Dariush?
I do have some comments that actually not really the question. We had a similar application in this area last 2 meetings. Obviously, in this area, that type of home with the non-conforming setback is very, I think it is there, and they actually approved to go ahead. These are existing non-conforming, they are not really adding anything. The only comment I have in the north elevation is when we have a very limited distance, I think less than a meter or close to the meter. In the building code, I don't think to allow any opening unless you have a sprinkler inside. So since you're doing this change, there's opportunity to, I know having the video is beneficial, but it's a code requirement. Either you have to put a sprinkler or
Sorry, I can comment on that. That's a really good point. Typically, you don't like to have north-facing windows on a building as it stands anyways, because the amount of light that you can get in from there is limited. So we don't plan on actually putting any windows along that north wall, because we're going to get most of the light from the east, the south, and the west. We're going to concentrate any windows along those. So from the north end, there's just going to be bedrooms down there. There isn't going to be a necessity to have any windows. Obviously, if that's the case, then building code requires us to put a sprinkler system or non-combustible materials, and we'll obviously integrate that within our design.
Thank you for comment. Yeah, as I see the drawing, you did not add the window at the lower floor, but I was talking about the existing floor which gonna be raised and higher. So I'm pretty sure when you apply for permit, the city, the building department, they will comment on that. That is just a comment. It's not a question. So I think that this is straightforward to
Dariush, any more questions, or is that clear? Is your comments clarified for now?
Yeah, it is.
Excellent, thank you. Just a quick question for myself, and that is, do you predict to have any structural foundation changes in the process of this renovation? Because if you were required to replace the foundation and you're lifting the house, you may also be able to just move it if you were rebuilding all of the foundation anyways. Did you look at any other options, or keeping it where it is, using the existing foundation is what the plan is and is recommended by, or you've looked into it? The question is, have you looked into the structural?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. We actually did have the house and the foundation structurally assessed, so we've already gone down that process. We do not need to change any of the existing foundation, which is beneficial to us. There inevitably, with any construction project, there's going to be some things that we're going to have to do in there, and that's just a fact of construction. But the intent is to leave the foundation as is and build up on that. And the preliminary structural assessment has no concerns with the integrity of the foundation or of the house itself.
Okay, that's perfect. And from your architecturals that you provided, I'm pretty familiar with the South End architecture, and it looks like you're keeping the original structure and its heritage quality as is, and then are you only just building a new ground level, but the original house as is will be retained?
Yeah, you can kind of think of it as a Lego increase. It's just an easier way to think about it, right? We're literally floating the house and then creating a livable footprint underneath. That's the intent. We really just want to stay in the South End. We want to just increase that footprint so that we can live in that space. Yeah, that's the intent there.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Fellow board members, any other questions or comments? Hi, Ken, please go ahead.
Have you had any, just the applicant, have you had any indication how your neighbor to the immediate north feels about this?
Yeah, that's a good question. We've actually had some our neighbors came to ask us about what we're going through and what the plans are. We explained everything to them. They are open to it. No one has any immediate concerns at all. As long as we maintain our open communication that we have within this area and this community as it stands, we don't anticipate any concerns. In fact, we had two neighbors that were willing to send in an email or a letter if that would help the decision, the board's decision. But our neighbor directly to the north, he has no concerns.
Oh, and they've conveyed that to you?
Yes, they have.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Excellent, thanks, Ken. And just for reference, to confirm with board members, the letter we did receive earlier today, which was the late addition to the agenda, was in support of this application. And Ken, thank you for asking if that was part of the application package. And it came in late, but I just wasn't clear which neighbor that was. I didn't coordinate that with the plan, so whether that neighbor's to the north or not, they are in support of your application and let us know that, so that's good. Nice to have those positive supports from neighbors. It really helps us in processing your application.
Yeah, we feel that if that's the last thing you want to do is to upset not only neighbors, but your community. You want to live there for a long period of time, which is what we want to do. We want to build our family there. We got to make sure that everyone is in support of something like this. We don't want to impede on other people's quality of life as well.
Excellent, thank you, Ryan. Your application was very thorough, and your intentions are wonderful to keep the heritage aspect of the community and to stay in Nanaimo. So, unless anyone has any further questions or comments, we could make a motion in regards to this application. Board members? Hi, Ken, please go ahead.
I move that the board approve application BOB 755 to vary section 7.5.1 of zoning bylaw number 4500 to reduce the required side yard setback from 1.5 meters to 1.01 meters and the front yard setback from 4 meters to 3.72 meters to raise an existing non-conforming single residential dwelling and allow a proposed addition.
Great, thank you, Ken. So we have a motion on the table to approve the application. Would somebody like to second that? Dariush, you were first. Dariush seconded the application, thank you. Show of hands for those in favor of the motion. All right, so we have a unanimous decision to approve your application. Congratulations. The city will contact you regarding the next steps. And good luck with your renovation and your new home.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
All right, have a good evening.
Yeah, you too. Have a great afternoon. Have a great Canada Day.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so I think that's it. No closing items to address today. So, board members, anything else business-wise we need to talk about? Motion to adjourn? All in favor? Thanks, gentlemen. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you. I hope everyone survived the heat okay. Seems we're on the other side of it now.
Yeah.
Enjoy the summer, everyone.